Hello kids around the world. I'm glad you guys are joining me for the first session of the book end, which of course I'm a defensive end and books put them together, book end.
He gets wrapped up by Michael Bennett and goes down.
You can only be in one place at one time, but when you read a book, you could be in anywhere in the world or any place that's ever existed, either fantasy world, a spiritual world, a non-fiction world, or you could be a wizard. So I thought it was cool to be able to tell kids about to start encouraging reading, and who better to talk about it than me? I love reading to my kids, and I just want to influence more people to take time out of their day. Most people may ask, Michael, where can I get a book? And then I tell them, the library, the Goodwill, the internet, or any place that you want to go to find a book. My first experience going to a library was very, very cool because I walked in and I couldn't believe how many books there were in there. I was just like, this is just so many books. A lot of books I couldn't read, but there were so many great books to be a part of. First book I ever read or got read to was Clifford Big Red Dog, of course. Everybody loves that book. That's a really, really good children's book. So kids, after you read your first book, get super excited. Bring other kids or tell your parents about it. Share about your favorite information about the book, your favorite character, your favorite part about the book, the author. Does he have any more books? Just get real excited. Jump off the bed. And as a parent, get excited that your kid is telling you about this book and that he wants to read this book. Influence him to read more books and be encouraged. Take 1 minute to learn and ask questions. As they ask the questions, you give them an answer back. You ask the question about the book, then they answer the question, and it becomes a whole family afternoon. My first recommendation to the junior 12s, grades 5 through 8, or if you're fourth grade or third grade and you have great reader experiences, this book is good for you. It's called The Hatchet by Gary Paulson. It's won numerous awards. It's one of my favorite books growing up as a kid. I think a lot of people read this book. It's a very good book about survival and having perseverance and having inspiration to survive a greater moment in your life that even though you think you can't survive it, you end up surviving. And it starts off with a character named Brian, who's on his way to visit his father in Canada. And then all of a sudden, the plane starts to crash. The pilot crashes, he has to level the plane, and he lands in the forest, in the wilderness, all by himself. Could you imagine being all by yourself as a teenage boy in the wilderness on the way to visit your father, and all of a sudden, you have to survive. So he has to survive, and all he has to survive with is one item. I know you guys watch all those shows about survival, but this one item to survive was the hatchet. I recommend this book for parents that want to teach their kids about perseverance and inspiration about moments that they might seem that they need to overcome, or they thinking that they can't do something at school. They can always go back to a reference about Brian, how Brian survived a greater moment in his life, all because he persevered. So once again, you kids can start with my favorite book as a child, The Hatchet, and parents, read it along with them. A lot of times with me and my wife and with my 10-year-old daughter, we take turns reading a chapter, and I read a chapter, my daughter reads a chapter, and then my wife reads a chapter, and then we keep doing that, and we try to read 3 chapters or 4 chapters a night of each book that she likes to read. So this is a good book, and a good thing for parents is very suspenseful. I think you have a good time reading it. My second recommendation for a book, actually I'm kind of jealous because my brother's book came out first before mine, but his book is super, super cool. It's called Hey AJ. It's about my niece. Her name is Austin Jett, so he named the book Hey AJ. It's a really cool book. It's about a young girl, which is my niece, Hey AJ. She goes downstairs and she finds a cool, unique world in the kitchen. You know, so many different talking syrups, waffles, bacon, just a whole world, a creative world about a kitchen. I know sometimes kids, you go in the kitchen and the kitchen just looks boring. Boring, you waffles, syrup, the refrigerator closes, and just imagine if that world was alive. And in this book, the world is alive. Everything from talking Jamaican syrups, to talking giraffes, to kitchens, animals talking, plates, bacon, things sizzling. And the best part about it, you can go on, and my brother is the narrator on the book. And it's a really cool experience because you get to hear him talk through the story that he created. And you also get a chance to play the app. There's an app that comes along with the games, and you know, a lot of times with books, you know, like The Hatchet, it's an older book, so you know, there's not really a digital way to play the book and see how the character interacts in the book. So it's really cool to have a chance to have a book that you can interact with, and you see the children and you see the action and the reaction of the book. And you guys should check out this book. It's a very cool experience, and if you love this book and if you want to be a part of it or find some way to get this book, you can either go on heyaj.com or look up Hey AJ on the iTunes store. I'm sorry that I have to go today, but if there's any book that you think that I should read or that you love, that you want to share with me or have me share with some of my teammates, you can reach me at kidsclub@seahawks.com. Once again, that's kidsclub@seahawks.com. Check it out. Send me an email. I look forward to talking to all the children and the parents. If you have time to, check out, send me an email about a book that or any type of things that you do with your kids that I can take home and use for my kids. That would be pretty cool. So, bye 12s. Have a good afternoon.